Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. What's the biggest credit card mistake you've ever made? Scratch that, what's the biggest credit card mistake you've ever heard of? If you're anything like me, you probably thought something like not paying your bill on time and then getting slapped with one of those ridiculously high interest rates. Turns out there's way worse mistakes than that. Before we dive into the credit card mistakes, let's take a quick look at credit card stats here in America. Currently, Americans collectively have a record-setting over $1 trillion in credit card debt, and an average interest rate on credit cards that is currently running just under 25%. And that's exactly why you always want to make sure you pay off your balance in full and on time. You never want to pay a penny of interest because that is a ridiculously high interest rate. 56% of American households regularly carry a balance month to month on their credit cards. The average outstanding balance on credit cards is just under $8,000. And 36% of Americans have more in credit card debt than they do in savings.
You know, I don't know if anybody's in debt tonight, but if you are, I'm going to tell you right now not to worry about it, because I used to worry about it and it doesn't help at all. I used to be in a little bit of debt and it bothered me a lot. Now I'm in a lot of debt, it just bothers me a little. And I know why. It's because I figured it out. I finally hit the number. And you know what's key about the number is that you don't even know what the number is until you hit it. And then one day you're home, you're just kind of looking through the bills, the Discover, the MasterCard, the Visa, and all of a sudden it hits you. Wow. I can never pay this off. Well, maybe if I... No. All right, let's go to Target. I'm buying a big screen. Who wants one? Come on.
If you have not heard that entire bit on credit card debt from Tim Clue, it's absolutely hilarious and I will link it down below. Besides not paying your balance off in full and on time, what are some of the other bigger credit card mistakes? Well, get ready because there are some doozies here. I actually have to thank my husband Steve for this video because he is in the credit card game, so much so that he belongs to Facebook groups online for credit cards, and it is actually the comment section of those Facebook groups that inspired this video. The first one is asking a stranger to make you an authorized user on their credit card. I've been looking for someone to put me down as an authorized user. Would you be able to help? Thankfully, in this situation, the person replied no, but you should never ask a stranger to put you down as an authorized user on their credit card. Now, the idea of becoming an authorized user on someone else's credit card is that you're kind of piggybacking off their credit history. Maybe they have a credit history that's longer than yours, or maybe it's more favorable than yours. By becoming an authorized user on their card, you adopted that credit history as well. I did recently talk about this in a video where I suggested that parents with an impeccable credit history and impeccable handling of their credit cards could add their child as an authorized user to their credit cards to help build up their credit history and maybe boost their credit score over time. But again, you really have to be someone who is impeccable with your credit history. That is, you're paying off your balances in full and on time, never paying interest. And most people don't have this kind of behavior. That's also why I say most people should not do this. But you don't know anything about some random stranger on the internet. You should not be asking them to make you an authorized user on their credit card. What if they have terrible financial habits? Forget that. What if they just make a couple mistakes, just a few missed payments? If you're an authorized user on their card, their mistakes become your mistakes. And the same is true in reverse. If an authorized user has poor financial habits, that affects the primary card holder. It's a shared history at that point. Don't put your financial history in a stranger's hands. And also consider to become an authorized user on someone's credit card, you have to give them your name, your birthday, and your address. And in some cases, some cards actually require a social security number. That is a lot of information to give a stranger. Don't do that. Next, this user said their biggest credit card mistake was getting the Barclays Uber card. In case you weren't aware, Uber had its own credit card for a short stint, which since has been discontinued. I want to highlight this one because I think the vast majority of the time it does not make sense to get a store-specific credit card. You know, anytime you're checking out at any store, it seems like the cashier immediately goes, "Do you want to save 5% today by signing up for our credit card?" Just say no. And it's not even the fault of the employees. They're forced to push these credit cards on people. And the truth of the matter is these store credit cards usually don't have great benefits and they come with really high interest rates. I don't think there's anything wrong with using a credit card so long as you use it responsibly, pay it off in full and on time every single month, but I just don't like store-specific ones because they're so limited in their use. I prefer a more broad one, maybe just a general Visa or Amex or whatever you prefer. Some of these credit cards are literally just store-specific credit cards, and you can only use them at that specific store. And how much are you realistically shopping at one specific store? There are store cards that may be used elsewhere, but their bonuses can only be applied at their specific store. In general, I just don't think these store-specific cards are worthwhile. Next up, 20 years ago, I closed an account after I paid my debts, thinking it would improve my credit score. Ouch. Length of credit history as well as payment history together make up a huge chunk of your credit score, so closing down older accounts can absolutely hurt your score. Generally speaking, once you pay off a card, even if you no longer plan on using it, it can be a good idea to leave it open, assuming you want to maximize your credit score. It can help on a couple fronts. It can help to lengthen your credit history, it can help to diversify your credit mix, and it also helps to lower your credit utilization by leaving more credit open and available to you. So once you pay it off, just leave it open, and if you want to, just cut up the card and don't use it anymore. However, there are situations where it would be best to actually close your account, even if it would have a negative impact on your credit score. Perhaps in the situation of a jointly held card, say in a marriage, but then the relationship ends, you'll want to go ahead and close that account. Or maybe you have a really high-end credit card that has a hefty annual fee. Maybe you're not using it anymore, or you're not using it to the point that you're actually getting as much value as you wish you would out of it. Go ahead and close that and save yourself the money. I was working on building up my credit history with a secured credit card and ended up paying almost $400 in annual fees. They charge you for every little thing. They charge you for ink, paper, their pens, over limit fees, late fee, toilet fee. That way you never get them paid off. A secured credit card is aimed at those who have no credit history or a poor credit history. You actually give money over to the institution, that's the secured portion of it, and they'll give you a credit limit generally based on how much you give them. The whole idea is that you can work on building up your credit score because these cards report to the 3 major agencies, which they do. And it's not that secured cards are bad, but you have to be really careful with them. Some of them have an initial setup fee, an activation fee, which is separate from the initial setup fee, a monthly maintenance fee, an annual fee, and then on top of that, they charge ridiculously high interest rates, usually around 30% or so, on any balances that are not paid off in full. And being that these fees are just added to the balance on the card, if you don't pay your balance off in full, you could end up paying that 30% interest rate on these fees as well. Without exaggeration, many of these secured cards actually have annual fees in excess of $400 or $500 a year, and they don't even have a rewards program. Annual fees of $400 or $500 a year are fees that are in line with premium high rewards credit cards. So that definitely shouldn't be the bill you're facing if you're just trying to build your credit with a card. If you have a really damaged credit history and feel like a secured card is the only way you can repair it, I would honestly check with your local credit union because a lot of them actually do offer secured credit cards, but no matter what, always make sure to read the fine print. But truthfully, if the only card you can get approved for is a secured card, it's a signal that you're a high-risk borrower. And a better course of action would be to work on your financial habits and have a really good payment history and wait until you could apply for a card that has no fees. Or maybe you're just a person who should not have a credit card. When it comes to finances, know yourself. If a credit card is just going to dig you into a deeper financial hole, just don't have one. I exceeded my credit limit. I've never done this before. I was just trying to get points, and I literally never use this card. A couple of things with this. What happens when you exceed your credit limit really depends on the card you have. Some will just flat out decline the transaction, others will charge you a fee, and others will ding your credit score. Fortunately, this Reddit user let us know what happened to him, and I assume that they mean their credit score dropped 55 points, which is a pretty big hit. Now, you should never be getting close to maxing out your credit cards or exceeding your credit limits. Also, I want to touch on what this person said in their first post. I've never done this before. I was just trying to get points. I'm hoping that he was making purchases he was already planning on, that he wasn't just making purchases just to get points, because if you're just making purchases to rack up some points, that's a really bad plan. When it comes to spending on credit cards, it's pretty common sense to say only make purchases you were already planning on making. If you're just making unnecessary purchases just to rack up points, That's a really bad plan. The points are not that valuable that you should be spending unnecessary dollars to get them. As far as the biggest credit card mistake I've ever made, well, I'm pretty boring and pretty vanilla, and I like my financial life to be that way, but I was either 19 or 20 and I was getting online to pay my credit card balance. I didn't at this point have it set to auto pay. I don't know if it wasn't an option at this point yet, or I just hadn't set it up, but I read the balance wrong and I paid 10 cents less than the balance was. Fast forward to like a week or so later, I log on, I'm checking through my statement, and I see something like a $50 interest charge. And I'm like, what the heck? I paid that off. And that's when I found out I missed the balance by like 10 cents. And that is also when I found out that they charge you interest on the entire statement balance, not just the remaining balance after you've made your payment, which is kind of deceptive and unfair in my eyes. I feel like they should only charge you interest on what's left over after you've made your payment. However, my credit card was through Chase and they were wonderful about it. I just gave them a call, explained what happened. They waived the interest fee. I paid the 10 cents. And nowadays it's not something I have to worry about because I have everything set to auto pay. And this one wasn't a mistake, but a few years ago, my husband had to buy a new car because his was totaled. And let me first say, we had the money to buy the car outright, but we wanted to put it on the card for the points, of course, but it was a purchase we had to make anyway. And then we were just gonna log on and pay it off in full. But the dealership wouldn't let us charge the car to the card. My dad back in the 90s actually did buy his vehicle on a credit card from the dealership and then just simply paid it off next month. So I'm not exactly sure how he did that because everything I've looked into says that's not allowed. So if you guys know of something different, let me know in the comments down below. We also tried to put the down payment for our house on a credit card. They didn't allow that either. Credit cards can absolutely be a great asset if you use them wisely. And there's really only one right way to use them. That is to spend as you normally would, don't rack up any additional purchases just to get points, and make sure that you pay them off in full and on time every single month. And while there's only one way to use them correctly, there's about 1,001 ways to use them incorrectly. So if you're using them incorrectly, you're better off not using them at all. Do you have any credit card stories you'd like to share down below? Leave it in a comment. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye.